What does it really take to turn finance from a back office function into a growth engine? Well, my guest today has some of the answers, let me tell you. Because his name is Julio Martínez. He's the co-founder and CEO of Abacum. And they are a financial planning and analysis platform that has been growing at pace. At a pace that almost defies belief, in fact, because Deloitte named it the fastest growing tech company in Spain, with revenue climbing an extraordinary 6,733% over the last 4 years. But this isn't just a story about numbers on a chart, as impressive as they are. It's more about how finance teams around the world are ditching clunky spreadsheets and automating the grind of data wrangling, and as a result, gaining the clarity they need to become real partners to the business. So my guest and I will dig into why scenario planning is finally becoming practical, why shadow P&Ls are changing how multi-product firms make decisions, and why he thinks AI in finance is still a co-pilot rather than a replacement. But we'll also talk about what's happening across the tech scene in Spain, from Barcelona to Bilbao, and what it means for founders building companies today. Because with Abacum already being trusted by the likes of Moneybox, Banking Circle and Factorial, this is a conversation about building resilience, efficiency and ambition in equal measure. So how do you triple revenue without tripling headcount, and what lessons can the rest of us learn from that approach? Well, let's find out by getting my guest onto the podcast now. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell everyone listening a little about who you are and what you do?
Julio Martínez. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of Abacum. I've spent most of my career in finance before I transitioned into technology. And once I learned how to build products and launch them to market, and I did that for close to 5 years, together with my co-founder, Jorge, we decided to leave everything and launch Abacum, the next generation AI native financial planning and analysis platform. So we support finance teams in the reporting and business planning endeavors.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast today. For people listening here about Abacum for the first time, when I was doing my research, I read that you've recently ranked as the fastest growing tech company in Spain with an astonishing 6,733% revenue growth, which is phenomenal. But tell me more about the story behind that rise and what's been driving this momentum.
Yeah, we feel very proud about that. But hey, the reality is that we are surfing a wave that is taking place in the market. Finance teams are eager for a change. They have been feeling like a back office function for way too long. And with increasing pressures, regulatory changes, macroeconomic uncertainty, they are in the spotlight. So CFOs, VP finances, and financial planning and analysis teams, for short FP&A, are really embracing technology to upgrade their game. So they're in the market for the best product. And hey, luckily enough, I think we did a great job in building something that really is a game changer for them.
And for anyone listening that is unfamiliar with Abacum, how does this financial planning and analysis platform, how does it work in practice? And what are those day-to-day challenges that it's helping those CFOs that might be listening and finance teams? What does it help them solve?
Look, what we do is simple, if you want. We help finance teams, first of all, save time. Second, plan with confidence. And third, make smarter, faster decisions. So that translated into the day-to-day, and in practice, we automate a lot of the data wrangling and data cleaning and normalization that finance teams oftentimes need to do around financial data, but also operational data. So we save a lot of time and reduce manual errors by a significant part. Then, secondly, we provide them with access to a single source of truth. Imagine all the metrics that matter to the business always readily available in real time, clean, ready to be used. to report, to plan, to forecast, to surface insights, to provide, this amazing comment to somebody in sales so they make a better decision. That moves us to the third part, aligning stakeholders. Finance teams want to be a business partner. Finance teams are asked these days to become a enabler of growth. And you cannot do that if you are sinking in, manual work and stuff. So we enable them with the wealth of data to really collaborate with the organization and add more value.
And a quick sneak behind the curtain, and I was able to see that you're trusted by companies like Banking Circle, Moneybox, Factorial, and Cabify. So what do these fast-growing firms all have in common in how they're approaching financial planning right now? And what role do you think that you play in helping support them do this? Because it feels like you're all part of a big story here.
Yeah, so we are so privileged to have these amazing customers and hey, many more also in the US and across geographies. And we are humbled every day by their trust. Look, what they have in common is that they need finance to become a game changer in the business, right? They not only have a very sophisticated board of directors with very specific requests when it comes to planning and reporting, but also the business needs finance to enable them to make better decisions. Let me put you an example. All of these companies are multi-product. They produce and sell different products across different geographies, across different customer segments, different company sizes. They have multiple departments. How do you know, and how do you, if you're in the finance team, how do you know and how do you support your people in sales, your people in marketing, your people in HR to make better decisions? Which product is performing better per geography and per customer segment? How do you make your peers better capital allocators? What do you slow down and where do you double down? In terms of, no, we need to invest more in this particular product in this market because we are crushing it. And this is not only at the top line level, right, at the revenue level, but they have full visibility as to what matters, what's most profitable, what is truly driving business impact. And believe it or not, like many of these amazing organizations, our logo are flying oftentimes, blindfolded. Like they don't really know. The most pressing request we get from finance teams, CFOs, is what they call, or we call, shadow P&Ls. So basically analytical P&Ls that allow them to understand the depth of the business, the profitability of the business by different products, customer sizes, and so on. So in essence, what's common in all those amazing logos is that they want finance to be a growth enabler. They want finance to have real business impact in driving better decisions in their day-to-day.
And of course, high growth startups are currently facing constant uncertainty from those macroeconomic shifts to headcount planning and so much in between as well. So how does your platform help finance teams scenario plan and adapt quickly? Because I don't think there's ever been a time in history where every business has to adapt and evolve so quickly.
Yeah, love that question. You bounced the magic word, scenario planning. Everybody loves the scenario planning in finance, and I don't want to get too nerdy here. I'm very finance, but finance teams are very big on that. And of course, the scenario planning and the scenario modeling is what allows you to better understand the possibilities of the future, right? And it's a great instrument to drive better decisions and illustrate to your peers what are the different options so better decisions are made. Look, scenario planning traditionally in spreadsheets is very cumbersome, very cumbersome. When you have a very big operational model built in a spreadsheet and then you start running scenarios, you need to start duplicating that spreadsheet, and that comes with countless complications. It becomes very messy. And a great reflection of it is when the board of directors or the CEO ask a very simple question. Hey, in this scenario, what would you recommend? What if And then, that question gets to the finance team and they spend one freaking week working long nights and probably a weekend just to be able to answer that question. And then the board of directors and the CEO is asking, what the hell is going on here? Like, what is my answer, right? In their mind, this is a couple of hours type of analysis, but the reality, because the systems and the data foundation is not built, that becomes a 3, 4, 1 week project. Just to answer a very simple question. So what the Abacum platform enables is seamless scenario planning, because the data foundation is very strong and because all the variables and metrics are interconnected. We make it very easy for the user to manipulate different variables and assemble different scenarios, compare them, surface insights, and share with peers and whoever is, consuming that information.
And I think for the last 3 years, we've all been surrounded by the AI hype. It's all we see on our news feeds. And another reason I was excited to get you on today is you've been quite outspoken about AI in finance and pretty much saying quantitative AI isn't strong enough yet and could take another 12 to 18 months to mature. So I've got to ask, from your viewpoint here, what's holding it back and what potential do you see once it does advance, when we do get to that place?
Yeah, so look, LLMs come with a fundamental flaw for, let's say, quantitative use cases, at least for now. And the fact is that they are non-deterministic. So for any particular set of inputs, they will throw out different outputs, right? We in finance need to be very precise and very deterministic, meaning, for a particular model with different assumptions and different variables, you don't want to have every time a different output or a different possibility. You need the math to add up and be very precise and very deterministic. So LLMs are not yet strong, and this is changing fast, so we'll get to that, but LLMs are not yet strong enough for quantitative use cases. The caveat here is that there are some algorithms, some of them called large time series models, LTMs, that couple LLMs with a more mathematical foundation, in short, for simple. And they may, they combine a little bit that power of LLMs with a more deterministic foundation, so that for quantitative use cases, that it makes sense. So we are using those, for instance, when it comes to forecasting, budgeting, and, AI-driven future outputs. So, but the reality is that, and I don't want to get too nerdy into the technology, but the reality is that today LLMs, and I think this is widely accepted, so I'm hoping I'm not breaking any hearts here, but the reality is that LLMs and what we consider today traditional AI is not strong enough for quantitative use cases. This is evolving fast, by the way. So it is known that, hey, maybe GPT in their version 6, or we'll see, and then obviously other players in their next iterations will improve that technology. This is evolving. But for now, it is critical to have a human in the loop. The vision here is way more of a copilot than a substitution. AI is great to remove, and ML, right? Machine learning as well. Both AI and machine learning are great to remove repetitive tasks, to remove all that manual work. They work very well in that scenario. But for judgment, for decision making, where a lot of context and nuance is needed when talking to other humans and triangulated with different stakeholders, is of essence. A human in the loop needs to be involved. So going forward, hey, maybe some of these, more manual tasks that maybe a younger analyst used to do in the past, hey, the reality is that we already see that, right? That is being done by technology, but AI is not yet, at least, a substitute for human judgment when it comes to financial use cases.
And on behalf of startups and startup founders listening around the world, what advice would you give them about scaling in a tough economic climate and global conflict and uncertainty, all while keeping investors confident. You've made it look quite easy, but it's quite a tricky balance, right? Especially in the times we're living in right now.
I'm a big fan of bootstrap founders. They are the real heroes. But here we go. Our product is very complex, and then we need that capitalization to and that strong balance sheet to fuel our growth. I think what we've seen in the market is that investors are truly valuing efficiency and efficient growth, right? So I think with the AI hype, we changed gears again, and then people are a bit more optimistic and setting up a premium for high growing businesses. However, still I feel many investors, but more importantly, I think the right way to build a company is to focus on strong foundations. I think we often in tech get a little bit confused, right? And then we place a lot of emphasis on very fast growing business, and all this company has raised I don't know how much money, and those are all vanity metrics, right? In reality, of course, it matters to grow fast, but in the long run, what you want to do is to first of all stay alive and stay profitable, right? Sometimes fast growing companies end up making wrong decisions and go belly up faster than others, right? And this is the busy game. And to be honest, if you think of the formidable tech businesses that we have today in front of us, it took decades to build that. So yeah, they were fast growing at some point, but they also focused on strong business foundations, on that efficiency, on that culture. And we are very proud of that. And I think investors, and we did that, right? So we tripled year on year with flat headcount, which is what we mean by becoming better capital allocators. Usually a business will triple by hiring triple revenue, by hiring a lot of people, right? By investing into the business. This is how you fuel that growth. But we did it with flat headcount without further investment in the business. Let me tell you, it's very tiring, right? Because you need to work very hard. But at the same time, it's a formidable accomplishment where you grow so fast, but then you keep your investments stable. There is something awesome in that business because, that scalability and efficiency is very profitable. So this is how I would frame it for anybody listening. Focus on what matters in your business, and the rest will take care of itself.
Love that. And something else I love doing on this podcast every day is shining a light on a different area in the world and the tech scene that is building there. There are so many fantastic stories outside of Silicon Valley and the US. And of course, Spain's tech ecosystem is gaining international attention right now. So from your somewhat unique vantage point, what trends or sectors do you see standing out over the next 12 to 24 months? And anything you'd like to share about around that tech ecosystem in Spain?
I think Spain has been attracting formidable talent from overseas. So that's a very clear trend. I'm originally from Barcelona, born and raised, as you can tell by my thick accent. And despite the fact that we at Abacum had to move internationally very fast, and I'm based in New York with my family. But big part of the team is in Barcelona and in Spain, right? We've benefited as an ecosystem from foreigners that decided to relocate to Spain. And I'm saying that because some of the best people that we've had and we today have in the team are expats that came to Spain because, quality of life, I'm assuming, coupled with amazing job opportunities. So amazing food, amazing weather, great architecture, great culture. We work hard despite some of the cliches, but still probably reasonable for them, and still great opportunities because there is more scale-ups being very successful. You mentioned Factorial before, of course, TravelPerk, Globo, many others, multi-unicorns that are having a huge impact in the ecosystem. So I think this is the second factor, success factors that, have, and we have a lot of gratitude for these guys, right? So when you see all these success stories, it's very inspiring for other entrepreneurs like myself. And And we go for it all in, and then they also are generous enough to pay back to the ecosystem, right? They angel invest, they advise other founders. So truly, I would say the magic is really happening in Spain. Like the tech ecosystem is booming. It's not only Barcelona and Madrid. You will find amazing stuff in Valencia, in Seville, in Bilbao, in different hubs. So a very particular way of building startups that we have.
And as a Barcelona guy, we have the Spotify Camp Nou as well. Do you still follow the football, even though you're in New York? Do you still passionately follow, or are you not a football fan?
I used to follow. The thing is that I support the smaller team in the city, the underdog, which is called Espanyol, and I still follow. We lose all the time, that's why we are the underdog. But yeah, that keeps me engaged. We still want to beat these guys.
I'm a Derby County fan. I feel your pain on supporting a team like that. But I mean, looking to the future though, outside of football, of course, what excites you most about Abacum's next phase, where you're heading, and how do you see the role of financial planning tools? How do you see that evolving for scale-ups globally too? Anything excite you there?
Yeah, we are tremendously excited. We are at this point in time where macroeconomic uncertainty and conditions are still given that opportunity to finance teams to upgrade their game. And we are privileged to have all these amazing customers that are helping us build the best product really tailored to their needs. So I think that with the strong balance sheet that we have and our capacity to invest in the business, it's a formidable moment to scale a global company. Our biggest market is the US. It's our fastest growing market as well. So we are growing very fast there. But also, of course, Europe is a key relevant market for us. We have customers in APAC, in Africa, in LATAM as well, amazing logos everywhere. So I think today's opportunity for software providers like ourselves, catering finance teams, is massive to build and scale a massive business. And something that is particularly exciting to me is, of course, continue being at the cutting edge of technology. We are living a very exciting time. I complain sometimes about the AI hype, and I think there is a little bit of overdose still. But of course, there is something very meaningful happening in technology today. And, any one of us in tech are privileged to be playing, toying, exploring the edge of that technology and how to deploy it to better satisfy our customers.
Wow, I think that's a powerful moment to end on. But before I do, thank you for sharing your insights. But I always like to leave everyone listening with one final gift from my guests. So now I'm going to give you the toughest question of all. Can you add a song to our Spotify playlist for listeners to check out, or a book that we can add to our Amazon wish list? I don't mind which, but what would you like to leave and why?
Cool. I'm gonna go for Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I'm a huge fan of Stoicism, and I think that's a very good book that has changed and touched many lives.
Great choice. I'll get that added straight to our book wish list there. And for people listening wanting to find out more information about Abacum and some of the topics we explored today, maybe even reach out to you and your team, where would you like to point everyone?
So you can check our website, abacum.ai. And I'm also very active in LinkedIn. I post every day. I like to build community, to engage with folks out there, founders, but also finance teams alike. So you can find me there. If you type Julio Martínez from Abacum, you probably will see my LinkedIn profile.
Awesome. Well, I'll add links to everything there. And I, for one, have just loved hearing more about Abacum. And it was ranked, as I said at the beginning of the podcast, as one of the fastest growing tech company in Spain in Deloitte Technology's Fast 50, especially having increased your revenue by 6,733%. But it's not just about you. It's about the people that you're helping, the investors you have, your partners. There's just so much going on there. So just thank you so much for sharing your story and shining a light on the tech ecosystem in Spain. Really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was a blast.
One of the things that stood out for me in my chat with my guest today is that efficiency isn't a buzzword. It's a foundation. And tripling revenue with a flat headcount, I think, is proof that finance can be a true enabler of growth, especially when data is clean, accessible, and trusted. And I think his honesty about AI's limits in quantitative use cases was incredibly refreshing too. And in a world full of hype, hearing a CEO saying, yep, AI is a co-pilot, not a replacement, kind of brings the conversation back to reality, which is where we need to be. And again, so important to hear more about Spain's growing tech ecosystem, which deserves a massive mention, because these success stories are inspiring the next wave of founders, and experienced entrepreneurs are reinvesting their knowledge and their capital back into the community. So for me, this feels like a perfect mix of ambition, talent, and generosity. And all these things are fueling something that feels quite special. And I'm conscious that at the end of every episode, I always ask my guests, what song would you want to add to our Spotify playlist? What book would you like me to add to my Amazon wishlist? But this show's not just about me and the guests. It's about you. You're the people that make this show possible and the reason why I record it every day. So let me throw that age-old question back to you. Everyone listening, this is your call to action. What book or song has inspired you, and why should we share it with others? What would you like me to add and why? techblogwriteroutlook.com, DM me on LinkedIn at Neil C. Hughes, pop by techtalksnetwork.com. That's it for today. So thank you for listening as always. I'm looking forward to what you're going to be adding to that, and I'll speak with you again soon. Bye for now.